This past weekend, I had the absolute pleasure of watching four of the greatest professional wrestling matches that my own two eyes have ever seen. And today, I'm going to go over, review, and talk about how Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada have changed my life forever. So on Saturday, yesterday, this is like an emergency video. I just put this together. I'm putting this together right now. I had a whole nother video planned, but I said, scrap that. We're talking about this. I had this urge, I had this thought of purchasing New Japan World, which is the streaming site for New Japan Pro Wrestling, all their events, whatever they have to offer. There's a lot to offer, but I decided to invest in that because I've always been thinking and I've always wanted to start getting into New Japan Pro Wrestling and start watching the matches, following the stories, but I had nowhere to start. I had no idea where to start. I've been out of the loop. I've never been in the loop, actually. But now that I do have it, I decided to sit down and watch all four of Kenny Omega and Okada's classic matches. Spoiler alert, these four matches, I I couldn't believe what I was watching. And I'm going to dive deep into all four of them and kind of break it down and give my overall thoughts after. But I just want you guys to know that this entire video is you're going to see me just mind blown. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I'm still in shock. So I'm going to try my best to keep my head on straight, to talk about this and not freak out too much. Before we jump into it, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notification bells. So when videos like this and other daily wrestling content comes out, you can watch those videos as soon as they drop. All right, let's not waste any more time and let's jump into their first match at Wrestle Kingdom 11 in 2017. Okada walking in as New Japan Pro Wrestling World Champion. And guys, what I believe I witnessed was the greatest wrestling match of all time to that point. To that point. Now, what's so crazy about Kenny Omega Okada and these matches is I've heard so many things about them. I've heard how they broke the rating scale. I've heard how they were a collection of some of the greatest wrestling matches and arguably the greatest wrestling rivalry of all time. I hear all that stuff, but I never saw it my own two eyes. Maybe I've seen a few clips on Twitter or whatever, but as a lifelong WWE fan, okay, that is me, Dante Toro, lifelong WWE fan, and someone that has always known about New Japan and didn't know how to get into it or where to start, I don't know if there was a more perfect place for me to start because this match did everything for me as far as roping me in and making me, or you could say forcing me to become a New Japan fan because hey, I'm willing to be a fan and everything like that. But after watching this match, it genuinely was like, oh, I have no choice but to be a fan now and like watch the rest of this series at least. I didn't have any plans to watch like any matches. It was an idea that sparked in my head of, oh, let's get New Japan World and eventually we'll watch some matches. I jumped into this match. It was I had never seen anything like that before. Obviously, me being a pure WWE fan and not seeing many matches outside of WWE. Of course, I've seen AEW, TNA. I've seen other matches from other promotions. It's not like this is my first non-WWE match, but I've never seen a non-WWE match like this. That shit was insane. Both men, Okada got the win. Spoiler, but these matches happened 8 years ago. Okada won, just an absolute hard hitting, like how hard they hit each other and how stiff it is. These men were going 200% every second of this match. Insane. Two of the best. I mean, is is it crazy for me to like sit here and be like, I knew Omega and Okada were considered two of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, but after watching that match, is it crazy for me to be like, yeah, no, those are the two best wrestlers of all time? Like that match moved me. That match did so much for me, and it made me want to keep watching. So I jumped into the second match, which took place at, hold on, let me make sure I have this right here. The second match took place at Dominion in 2017. This match, first of all, someone pointed this out to me. Jinder Mahal was WWE champion while this was going on. So that's all you need to know about what was going on the other side of the world. I have never, ever in my life, and I wish, like, there's nothing about this where I'm being over dramatic or just trying to put on for a video or whatever. Like, this is me being genuine, like genuinely serious. I don't think I know I haven't said, oh my God, more than any wrestling match I have seen in my life. I felt like I was saying, "Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god." Every other fucking second, every other move that they were doing. These guys went on for an hour. An hour. It went to a time limit. I didn't know there was a time limit. I'm watching this on my laptop. Taylor was playing a video game in our room. I was like, I'm going to set up my laptop, watch it next to you, whatever. We get to the 55-minute mark and they go, all right, 5 minutes left. I go, what? We got 5 minutes. First of all, these matches, except for one, are all long matches. And you like sometimes obviously you have like an hour long match or a long match and it can drag on. It's like, this is boring, doesn't need to be this long, whatever. You could never tell that these matches were an hour long because they fly by. They for I don't know how you can go on for an hour, but constantly be doing stuff because it's not like, they're doing things and then, there's some breather in between, whatever. It is constant, 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 constant. They are going at each other. Some of these spots, I think it was the first match. It's not the second one, so I apologize. I'm kind of going back here. Kenny Omega put a fucking table, which these tables that they use in New Japan, God bless the people that have to use them, go through them, get hit with them, because these are the stiffest tables that don't break, barely break. Kenny Omega put the table on Okada and then did a fucking stomp from the apron or whatever. And then the thing, it was so crazy. My jaw dropped. But in this match, so they had the hour time limit when they said there was 5 minutes left. I genuinely said to myself, I paused it. I looked at Taylor. I said, hey, put your controller down. Let's watch this. This shit is about to be fucking crazy. She had no idea who Omega was. She had no idea who Okada was. But we watched it. It was a sight to see, and it's how did they top their first match? That's the question that I'm still trying to figure out, because I just talked highly about the first match, how it was the greatest professional wrestling match that my two eyes had ever seen up to that point. Well, guess what? Over an hour later, my opinion changed. I had just seen the newest, greatest wrestling professional match of my life. I don't care that neither men won, that it went to a time limit, because it felt perfect. You have two wrestlers go an hour like they did and it ends in a time limit, people might be pissed. It's like we watched all of that for no result, no new champion, no retain, whatever. Here, it doesn't they could have gone for 3 hours and it didn't matter if someone won, because when you have wrestling that fucking good, it's acceptable. It's totally acceptable to have both men literally give their all and not being able to go any further. Like, they literally fought until they couldn't anymore. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okada trying to reach over and pin him as the timer goes out was just a picture perfect, beautiful closing part of the match. And I can't talk about this match without pointing out the greatest wrestling spot that I think I actually think it may be the best wrestling spot of all time. Kenny Omega was about to get hit with a Rainmaker and collapsed to the floor as Okada was about to hit it. I almost fell to my knees watching that spot. I had never seen anything like that before. It was so poetic and it was so perfect in that moment, because both these guys, they're exhausted. They're going for an hour. They are giving everything they have, every bit of blood, sweat, like everything that they have, they're giving to us, to each other. And like, that spot was just incredible. I couldn't get enough of it. To me, this was perfect. The Bullet Club being there, seeing Cody, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, the greatest of all time. Like, that was like having all that going on was really cool. Now, let's move on to the third match. Now, the third match, and I want to make this very clear, this third match is, in my opinion, the worst of the four. We haven't even gotten to the fourth yet, but to this point, the third one's the worst. But although it is at the bottom of the list to me, what makes that statement, this entire statement, crazy is that this match is still one of the greatest professional wrestling matches that I have ever seen. This was a 30-minute barn burner. Absolute barn burner. I mean, it hit it hit like crack. I'll be honest with you. This was so fast paced. It was very different from their first two matches, because this time around they have a 30-minute time limit. We are at the G1 Climax, I should point out. I believe it was the match going into the final. So whoever won would go and face whoever else was in the finals. Could be wrong. I apologize if I'm incorrect there, but I believe that that's what it was. They had to change up the match, obviously, because they're cutting it in half. But it was still so it still is one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. And I don't know, I'm not trying to be like glazing or anything like that, or be like, oh, like these matches are great. Like I finally got to watch them and they're everything that I could have ever dreamed of. Like, again, I'm not trying to over exaggerate or anything like that. Like I couldn't believe what I was watching. And even in standards of like that didn't stand up, that wasn't up to par as the first two, that's still a 5-star match to me. And I haven't said it. I think it goes without being said. The first two matches were 5-star matches to me. I don't know if I'm in a place to be like, to break the 5-star scale. I know Dave Meltzer had to break the scale, had to reset the scale essentially. If there's any matches that I've ever seen that deserves more than 5 stars, it's the ones that I have seen. This one I think is a 5-star match. I don't think I'd put it above 5 stars like the first two. But one thing I did find out afterwards that I honestly might knock this up, maybe give it a 5.25 or something, is so I see Omega and I'm like, he just looks different. Like he, like in a good way, like he feels different. He has this aura. I was like, this feels like Omega in his prime. Like this is the best Omega we will ever see. Come to find out, he had vertigo. So he was wrestling through that. He had it through 2021, which I do remember hearing about. So he's fighting through all of that. You wouldn't even tell. Both of these guys could have had both their ACLs torn, and I still think that they would have been able to give you the quality match that we saw. Two wrestling soulmates doesn't even cut it. These are two of the greatest professional wrestlers I have seen in my life. Kenny Omega hit a rock bottom Uranagi, whatever you want to call it. They didn't call it a rock bottom, but Uranagi, it was the best rock bottom I've ever seen in my life. There is nothing that man can't do. Omega finally beat Okada, taking advantage of the whole G1 Climax atmosphere. I think Okada, they said he had fought the day before, so he was beaten up. He was going after his neck the whole time. This is good. I'm honestly enjoying whatever. We're at like 20 minutes or something. This is an emergency video, guys, so I apologize if I'm just like rambling and stuff, but I couldn't wait to talk about this. And so I get to the 3 matches and I watched the first 2 like before 9-10 o'clock, played a little bit of Xbox, and then I watched the G1 Climax. It ends at 1 in the morning and I go, do I want to watch the last one? The last one's 2 out of 3 falls. It's at least an hour. I had to. I'm like, there's no way I go to bed without watching the last match of all this. And my Twitter was popping off yesterday. I got so many New Japan, I feel like New Japan AEW followers, people that were telling me what matches to watch. They were like, yo, so happy that you're finally watching this. And super, like, people were like, I'm so jealous that you get to watch this for the first time. Like, I wish I could do that again. It was really cool interacting with people, but I decided to watch the last one because I couldn't go to bed without watching it. Bravo. I don't know. Like I said, I gave a standing ovation at the end of the second match. It was 3 in the morning by the time this one ended, so I wasn't giving many standing ovations. This was, This is, I think, the greatest wrestling match I have ever seen. But what's so crazy is that you could take all 4 of these matches, right, and genuinely put them in a ranking. I don't think anyone can be mad at anyone for having these matches in a certain way. Like, you could say you have the Climax match at your number 1. It's my number 4. But fuck it. If that's your number 1, I got you. I get it. If you want to say the first match, the original, like, there's nothing better than the original, Sure. Hey, you don't have to argue with me. I'm with you on that one. But 2 out of 3 falls between 2 men who have fought in over 200 minutes of wrestling. They emphasize this a lot. They have fought each other in over 200 minutes of wrestling, and both men could barely get a win over each other. Okada got the win the first time. Omega got the win the second time, or the third time. The second match, they went over an hour without a pinfall. So you're having these 2 guys go into a match that they can barely beat each other because they're so fucking good, and they have to pin the other person twice or submit or whatever. What a crazy concept. So Okada got the first fall. It was like not a roll up, but it was like he got him in a sneaky pinfall, got his legs up. A few minutes into the match, gets a very surprising pinfall. I was not expecting that, but I liked how they got that out of the way early because now Omega's back is against the wall, right? He's fighting for the world championship, a championship that he had never won, which I was shocked. I don't know the history of Omega in New Japan, like how long he was there for, how long he was fighting for the championship or chasing the championship. So to me, to find out that he was only at one time and that was the only time that he had won was shocking to me. Well, I just didn't know that. So Okada gets the early pinfall, which I thought was really cool because now the whole dynamic of the match, the whole pace of everything changes. Omega hits a one-winged angel, finally gets a second fall, and Okada sells his ass off. Like he is knocked out for the entire 2 minutes of it. As soon as he gets up, Omega hits him with a V trigger. And I have like overall thoughts at the end of this. Like I'm just breaking down these matches, and then at the end of it, I'll give, what I think in general. But spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the V trigger a little bit. There is no move that I think I've seen that looks more devastating than a V trigger because of the impact of it. Kenny Omega delivers a V trigger like he is trying to knee your fucking head off in every vein, anything that's keeping your head attached to your body. He is trying to kick the fuck off. Insane. Absolutely insane. And I'll get more into some other moves and stuff later on, but Omega is all over him as soon as Okada gets up, as soon as the 2 minutes, which I did like too. One last thing is the 2 minutes in between each fall. Loved that. I thought that was a nice little touch. And now we're getting towards the end of the match and we're getting some callbacks because I mentioned earlier about how Omega collapsing before taking the Rainmaker was just, I think it's the greatest wrestling spot that I've ever seen. Okada tried going for the Rainmaker but collapsed while doing it. It was such a nice touch, such a great, just perfect, so perfect for this match. Omega hits a Styles Clash. The crowd starts chanting AJ Styles. I loved that. They were talking about the history of AJ Styles in Japan. That was great. And then at the end of it all, Kenny Omega hits a one-winged angel on Okada out of nowhere. I think it was a Rainmaker going into the one-winged angel, and it was in one motion. It was so clean. Okada couldn't believe it. Both men are just... Omega can't capitalize. He's exhausted. Okada is exhausted. They are both sitting against the ropes, and this visual is like the closing to a perfect movie. It's like the ending of a movie. Two brothers, two guys are like, look what we did. Look what we accomplished. And like we've come so far. And Omega goes, you're right, but I got one last thing I got to do. I got a job to finish. Omega gets up, nails Okada with a V trigger, picks him up for the one-winged angel. 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega finally wins the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Him, Nick, and Matt Jackson hugging in the ring was beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God. I couldn't. Watching that shit at 3 a.m., there was something about it, man. There was something beautiful about that. Each match, these matches changed everything for me. They changed everything for me. Kenny Omega and Okada changed everything. Each one of these matches, maybe besides the G1 Climax, each match felt like there were multiple matches in one match. Like the 2 out of 3 falls, of course, I'm not really talking like, like that, but like the first and second match, it felt like I was watching a trilogy unfold during the match. So much story was being told, how the pacing of it would be slow to start, then they'd pick it up a little bit, then they'd really pick it up, like table spots, doing stuff outside, the dives, the cross bodies. These guys are athletes. They don't need to just stay in the ring. Most of it was in the ring because they are the best professional wrestlers, but they show that their athleticism, that they are athletic and that they can do other stuff as well, dangerous stuff. And then towards the end of these matches, they would just go fucking 100 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, and deliver for the best wrestling matches of all time. So the notes that I have here of all 4 of these matches is I think the V trigger is the best move in wrestling now. After watching him hit it like 50 to 100 times last night in those 4 matches, I don't think there's a move more devastating than that. No one could hit a V trigger like Kenny Omega, make it look as painful, as serious. I'd be dead if I got hit with one of those. And Okada, gotta give him his flowers. I gotta give him all the credit in the world. The best drop kick of all time. The drop kick was like Okada's staple move. Like that was his reversal. Like whenever Omega would get momentum, he'd start going. Okada with a drop kick, a picture perfect drop kick. Every single time he nailed it. Same with the V trigger. It's not like they would pull these moves off and they're like, oh, like they kind of half-assed it. It didn't look as good. Every time they'd hit the V trigger or a drop kick, it was the most devastating move you had ever seen. I loved just because I've always heard about how, like, with the audience and stuff, where there are times where they can clap, they can cheer, but they are also quiet and stuff, and it's very respectful. They're respecting the sport. I love that. I also love the amplified sound of the mat. So I noticed in one of the matches that they had like mics against the mat so they could pick up like the sound of the feet running and the ropes, or not the ropes. You can't hear the rope. Maybe, I don't know. But you could hear like amplified sounds of the ring while they're wrestling when they're hitting the mat and everything. And I think that it just sounds like professional wrestling. It's a weird thing to say. Yeah, it is professional wrestling, but it just like, you close your eyes, you hear that. It's like you can just picture professional wrestling. And I loved that added noise to it. I know it's a little thing, but I thought that was great. And one thing I also noticed in the matches is Omega would constantly yell out Okada or whenever they were doing a sequence and Okada was like needed to reverse it. So that's something I picked up on, like doesn't ruin or anything by any means, but I thought that was just really funny. So closing statements. I know I've kind of been rambling and I'm sorry guys if you're following along. I appreciate it. These matches genuinely changed my perception of wrestling and how I will perceive it moving forward, because I'm a lifelong WWE fan, like I mentioned earlier, but it was always a goal and a mission of mine to dive into and get into other wrestling that I know is out there, because WWE it's the top company, right? It's like everyone knows WWE. That's like, where people find like that's the end goal. Like you want to end up there. You want to fight at WrestleMania, right? But it's not just WWE. There's so much more wrestling out there, and you can say better wrestling out there, right? WWE sports entertainment, I love that shit. But as far as pure wrestling goes, I have never seen anything better than the 4 matches that I have seen in one day, in just a few hours. It took me too long to get into New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I regret not starting sooner. I do. But this is a great time I think, for me to get into other promotions and other bits of wrestling, because there's a lot of great wrestling out there. AEW is on fire right now. New Japan has some great stuff coming up, and I purchased New Japan World, so there was just an endless amount of matches and different feuds to watch and all that. And this is not the end. Like, I am gonna watch so much New Japan Pro Wrestling and really dive into that, because I'm all in. No pun intended with AEW, all in coming up, but I'm all in on New Japan Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Kenny Omega. Shout out to Okada, because they changed everything for me. Yeah, unbelievable. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, opinions, hot takes on Omega and Okada's 4 matches, what your favorite matches were. I think, hold on, let me give a ranking. So my final ranking, I'm going to go with their 2 out of 3 Falls match at number 1, Dominion 2017 at number 2, Wrestle Kingdom 11 at number 3, and then I'll put their G1 Climax at number 4. So 2 out of 3, Dominion, Wrestle Kingdom, G1. But like, you guys could have it all different and stuff, and you won't get an argument out of me. Matches 2 and 4 are the 2 best wrestling matches I've ever seen in my life. Number 1, the original, also one of the best wrestling matches I've seen in my entire life, and maybe as time goes on, my list will go up and down, but crazy how that's just number 3 on my list, but it's so close to the top one. I can sit here and talk about this forever, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, put in the comments, thoughts, opinions. If you have any matches you suggest for me, or if you have any suggestions, put that down below. I'd be happy to watch it, review it, all that good stuff. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you when I see ya. Peace.